Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the next in the series of Let's Talk training in this case. Our presenter for today is Angie Fredericks. Just very quickly, Angie Fredericks is a business owner, female business owner in our sector, and also someone who's accelerated her training journey. And I'm sure she'll touch on that a little bit as she presents. Just from a process point of view, this is another opportunity for you as stakeholders to engage directly with, like we say, critical stakeholders, to be able to channel some of those questions and concerns that you may have relating to training directly into our training chair. Angie Fredericks is the elected training chair for TEPA, and has been on quite a good journey thus far, I must say, in terms of execution, which she will touch on. Beyond that, from a process point of view, should you have any questions, and we know that questions are important, sometimes they may be important questions that you need to ask during the presentation. In that instance, please do raise your hand and we'll take your question. But for the most part, if you don't mind, try and keep questions to the end. Alternatively, you can as well, channel your questions into the chat box, and we will address all of those questions. If we don't get a chance to address any of your questions and they still are on the chat box, do understand that we will get back to you and we will feed back to you information regarding that. That is if there is no time during the course of the meeting to address any of your questions. Um, Over and above that, the process is quite straightforward. Angie will do a presentation. She will run through the presentation, go through some details with you. Like I said, this is your session. Feel free to ask important questions. Okay, this is your opportunity. Training is a big topic, and training does determine, the success or failure of your business. So please do engage. If you feel uncomfortable to ask a question, on the public platform, do so on the chat. Without going any further, I think I'm going to now pass on to Angie. Angie, over to you, and I will mute myself and turn my camera off.
Thanks, Vishal. Thank you for the introduction. Okay, as Vishal said, I'm your nominated TEPA Training Committee chairperson, and I do have extensive experience in the industry, so please feel free to ask me anything. If I don't know the answer, I'll find out the answer for you. Thank you to everyone, first of all, for joining us. It's quite a nice turnout, I must say, and I like to see the enthusiasm when it comes to training, especially in our sector, it's quite lacking at the moment, and we're looking for solutions. And I think it's going to be a team effort from all of us to find those solutions. Okay, so as Vishal said, I'm going to be sharing a presentation with you. Let's get to it. Sorry, I don't know why it's not sharing now. Just give me one sec.
Angie, would you like me to share?
Hold on, I'm getting there. Can you see it? No.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Hold on. Yeah, can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, guys, technology is not my thing. Okay, so we're basically presenting today on the industry skills gaps that we have within our sector. And when I say that we're a TEPA association, which means we tires, equipment, and parts. So we're looking at addressing all those industries and finding a solution for those gaps that we see in training. Okay, so to give you guys a bit of background, the training committee was formed in June 2024. And it was quite exciting for us because although we were represented on the national training committee within the RMI, we never had our own dedicated training committee to TEPA. So we can address the unique needs of whether you're selling equipment, parts, or you're selling tires. So our mission as this committee is to close those skills gaps and to ensure that our members have access to relevant, high quality training solutions. And what we mean by that is we've identified what the skills gaps are. Once we've done that and we've written all the programs, we are then going to look for the training solutions for you. If it's not funding through the RMI, it'll be looking at providers, that sort of thing. We're not going to just say, okay, this is what we need, but not find a solution for our members at the end. Yeah, so I don't know if some of you remember, we called a Teams meeting with our members, and we tried to establish what were the hard to fill vacancies that you wanted us to address. And we did a poll within the Teams meeting. And if you can see on the left-hand side, the outcome of that poll was basically that the salesperson, whether it be parts sales or tire sales, was number one in terms of finding suitable candidates to fill those positions in your businesses. Then the second one was a suspension specialist, which suspension parts, tie rod ends, that kind of thing, fitting of shocks. This is what you guys were looking for training on. Okay, so what we did next after that information is we collaborated with Masita, and we formed a task team. So separate from our TEPA training committee, we now have a task team that is sitting with Masita to write the curriculum for these programs that we require. And what we did was we got a hold of a lot of industry experts, and we formed the task team based on their knowledge, whether it be technical knowledge or knowledge when it comes to actual training. We've got a really nice, strong team together that's it with Masita. Yeah, so what we've developed so far, and I know a lot of you that do training at the moment will understand that we've really had to start from the beginning, because the legacy skills programs are now expiring at the end of June. So we've had to rewrite everything. And what we've done so far, and those of you who know how it works, Masita will say, right, we've identified this as a skills program. You can now go ahead with writing the curriculum. And the 4 programs that were ready to be written was a vulcanizer, hot vulcanizer. And I actually did this presentation for our national training committee about 2 weeks ago. So some of it is quite basic, but I wanted them to understand what the skills programs were all about. Okay, so vulcanizer is someone who repairs truck or earth mover or industrial tires. Retreader, tire retreader, we commonly retread truck tires 2 to 4 times, depending on the quality of the casing. And you can see there I've explained what a casing is, which I'm sure I don't have to explain to all of you. Wheel aligner, we rewrote that skills program. And what we did is we made it quite generic. So we've included passenger and light and heavy commercial. Yeah, so learners will be taught to identify worn or damaged suspension parts, along with being allowed to do the wheel alignment. And those components will include your control arms, your ball joints, your tie rod ends, your shocks, bushings, etc. And the reason for that is, as we all know, is a wheel alignment can't be done if any of those suspension parts need to be replaced. We've also used the opportunity to include new technology, like diagnostic equipment, recalibration of the steering angle sensor, and also ADAS, your advanced driver assistance systems. So that's now covered in the curriculum with wheel alignment. Then the wheel and tire fitter. This program talks to repairing tires, fitting tires, and balancing tires for passenger and 4x4. Yeah, the position is commonly referred to as a fitter in our industry, but we're also going to be including new technology, things like tire pressure monitoring systems, how not to break them, etc. Those issues that we all have in our shops. Yeah, so these 4 programs have already been worked on. Unofficially, I think I can say that they are about to be released into the QCTO program, and we'll be getting their numbers. So as soon as that happens, we will let everybody know. Okay, I can't actually see the chat. Is there any questions so far? No.
No, nothing.
No,
Okay.
not at the moment.
Yeah. Okay, so going on to the skills programs that we want to still develop. And when I say that, this means that Masita have to approve these titles as a position in a company. Once they do that, then we can start working on the curriculum. Yeah, and the first one is suspension specialist. So remember the wheel alignment, we said we'll cover how to identify whether the part's worn and it needs to be replaced, right? The suspension specialist will now deal with the actual fitment of the part. And the same again, control arms, ball joints, tie rod ends, bushings, etc. And it will include shocks, the replacement of shocks. So this is actually taking the part out and fitting the new part in the suspension. Okay, so the next is a battery fitter. How to fit batteries on passenger vehicles and truck. And this will also include a lot of product knowledge. And we'll also try to include a lot of technical advances there within that skills program. The next one is basic service technician. And when we called it basic service because it's just your routine maintenance, your engine oil, your oil filter change, your air filter replacement, your fluid top-ups, and then what to check, your tires, your battery, your brake, your lights, anything that needs to be taken off the vehicle and replaced will be checked within that skills program. Then we go on to brake fitter. So the same as your suspension specialist, this will now deal with actually taking the components out and fitting them with the new component. And this will include pads, discs, calipers, drums, and shoes. The last one that we're looking at is a salesperson. Now, remember, we are also dealing with equipment and parts within our association. So again, we're going to try and make it more generic. And we're going to design it with a lot of product knowledge on vehicle parts, including your tires, suspension parts, batteries, brakes, components, and shocks. And then we will include, obviously, sales techniques on how to sell. So everybody within the industry will be able to use that program. So if you remember the poll that we did, the 2 identified hard-to-fill vacancies was your suspension specialist and your salesperson. So our key priorities at the moment is to get these 2 skills programs titles approved by Masita so we can start working on the curriculums of these. And we're going to be slowly closing that skills gap based on the feedback that our members have given us on your training needs. So if you're looking for suspension specialists and salespeople, you will have those programs to teach. Yeah, our challenges at the moment is obviously that there's a lot of time constraints put on us. I know a lot of you that deal with Masita understand that nothing happens quickly. It is a government department and it takes a very long time for anything to be approved, as well as it needs to go to the QCTO for the final approval. So we are trying to speed up those processes, and we're doing that by we actually forming alliances with a lot of people. We're building a relationship with a lot of people, and we are trying to get those processes sped up within our association. Okay, the next challenge after that would then be to obviously get the providers accredited, which also unfortunately takes a long time with the QCTO. And once that happens, then we can actually roll out the solutions to the training. Okay, so I've included a funding option for a slide because I know a lot of people ask me this question. What are our options in terms of Masita funding? Yeah, so either your first solution where would be for your company to apply directly with Masita to do funding for skills programs. If you're going to do this, you do need a BE level or an affidavit if your company is under 10 million a year. And what you would need to do is you need to appoint a skills development facilitator. So this person could be somebody that works in your company, someone that's good with admin, someone that's good with monitoring a project, because their job is to apply for the grant, make sure, identify who needs to be trained, and make sure that that training happens right to the end. You can also appoint a private skills development facilitator. There are a lot of companies out there that do that if you don't have the capacity within your own company. The other option for our members is, and this is obviously down the line once we've got the skills programs approved and we've identified providers, that TEPA will apply for funding for its members. And this would mean that if you're not BE compliant, this option would actually work for you better. And then TEPA would monitor the whole program for you and would basically fund the training through Masita. Okay, thank you very much. I have got my contact details here. If anybody wants to get hold of me to ask, I know there can sometimes be unique situations. If you want to get hold of me, you can email me or you can, there's my cell number and we can talk further.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Angie. That was short and sweet and to the point, and I think that's what's important is it's to the point. I'm sure the presentation would warrant a fair level of questioning. Let's have a look from the team. Everyone that's here, should you wish to ask any questions, please do feel free to raise your hand. This is your chance, like I said previously, to ask pertinent questions regarding training, anything regarding training actually that you need to ask. Utilize the opportunity that's here now. Hercule, I recognize your hand. You want to come through?
Hi there. Thank you very much. Thank you, Angie. Great presentation. Will it be possible for you to share this presentation, as I do travel a lot, going to and seeing a lot of my franchisees that I would like to share?
Yes, sure. Michelle, I don't see a problem with us sharing this.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Mariki will share with all the attendees in this meeting. There's no problem there at all, Hercule.
Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. Any other questions? Please feel free to raise your hand. Nomtandazo, you want to come through?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much, Angel, for the presentation.
Pleasure.
I just want to find out, we deal mostly with automotive windscreens, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
how do we participate in the tire program, whereas we don't specialize in that? Or another question would be, how do we benefit from it? in the program?
Yes, so that's a very good point. If there are any suggestions for skills programs that I haven't mentioned, please just pop me an email or a WhatsApp and say, we are looking for a program that covers windscreen repair. And part of our committee will add it to the list of what we've already got. Does that answer your question? Yeah.
Yes, that answers my question.
Okay. So please, yeah, the success of this program largely, as I said in the beginning, depends on all of us pulling together. You know, I'm predominantly tires, which Michelle keeps on reminding me I must have been predominantly tires. So there might be something that we've missed, you know, in the equipment side or the parts industry. Please just pop us a line and say this, we really need this skills program.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, Namantandaza. That's a good question and very relevant question as well. What I can tell you is whilst the initial scope has been, like Anjali correctly points out, tire related, be assured that we are aware of the full spectrum and that we are considering all of those as future developments. So any information that you can share with us in terms of demand, perhaps, you know, a need that is out there in the industry, please do share with us, because we will take your information in a bottom-up approach and convert that into something meaningful. What I can tell you is, as you would have recognized through Angie's presentation, that the four qualifications, or certainly the two that we've identified as hard to fill areas, were scoped from industry. You know, we look at industry feedback, and from there we determine what the way or what the future would look like and how we scope that. So please, your input is very important. We work in a bottom-up approach, and we do value your input because, you know, for us it's important to make sure that the stakeholder engagement process is complete. And for us, the most important stakeholder in this equation actually is you, the member. So please, you know, if you do find that there's any specifics that you would like us to focus on, do channel that into the training committee, and we will definitely, you know, find solutions for you. Kwesi, I recognize your hand. You want to come through?
Yeah. Angie, just a question from Marietta Fisher. Will
Yes.
this training be online or in-class presentations from the chat?
So it is both. The curriculum will cater for the knowledge modules to be done online. Obviously, the practical would still need to be done face to face. But we are trying to keep up with technology and try and make as much of it online as possible.
I think maybe just adding to that, one of the challenges we do recognize in industry is, you know, freeing up your people for training. So we are aware of that. And, you know, like Angie mentioned, we will be looking at, you know, solutioning those sort of challenges so that we can make training more effective going forward. We have a good team together, like Angie mentioned, and you know, we definitely are on the right track at the moment, but we do need your input. I see there's another question that's coming through on the chat. Angie, let me present that to you. So will this training be online? Okay. Remember, GlassFit members can do just an ADAS course, which is required when ADAS equipped vehicles have their windscreens replaced and need to be calibrated. That's from Keith at Pointers. Yeah.
Yes, so basically at the moment we are obviously concentrating on Masita training because it needs our attention right now. But the whole scope of training will include short courses on product knowledge, or if your guys just need ADAS training, that kind of thing. We will look at those solutions for you as well going forward. And also maybe just to come back to the online training, we also recognize that there's a lot of RPL within our space, the recognition of prior learning. So, you know, we will guide you there in terms of how that training looks. You know, if you've got somebody that's been doing wheel alignment for the last 20 years, you don't need to take them through the whole process. There is a way to do it. And this is why we committed to solutions here.
No, fantastic.
Okay.
Thanks, Angie. Perhaps you want to just maybe explain the process of the 4 qualifications of the 4 skills programs. Let me get my wording right. The 4 skills programs that we have that's currently with the QCTO and what will happen from there on out, just so that maybe industry is aware of what process they would expect.
Yeah, so obviously the QCTO took over the running of the CETAs. So now the programs are all registered with the QCTO. So that's what we're waiting for at the moment, is for those programs have been approved. We're now just waiting for them to get a skills program number. And once that happens, we can then start applying through your discretionary grants on doing the training. And we can then implement the training, even if it isn't funded. There's a whole curriculum that guides you in terms of how to do the training, the knowledge modules, practical modules, and maybe just to also let you know that skills programs only deal with knowledge modules and practical modules. They don't have workplace modules with them. So there's a bit of a confusion there that comes in. With skills programs, you do not need workplace approval because there is no module that you need to do with that.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. I must say at this point, and perhaps it's very important to recognize this, is that the team that we've put together, thanks to Angie for identifying suitable training individuals. The team that we put together with the MERSETA has been very, I'm going to use the words constructive, very effective, and despite the fact that it's a long and lengthy process, I think we managed to achieve groundbreaking, outcomes in terms of, delivering on these 4 skills programs. It's quite a painstaking exercise, I must say.
Yeah.
And we've been recognized by the MERSETA as a team that's been very effective, that works collaboratively well together, and that is in more ways than one, I guess, showing the rest of the industry how things should be done. So well done to the team, because the team's effective. I guess what I'm trying to say here is having the right stakeholders around the room does make a huge difference, especially when you're scoping this type of project. So well done to you, Angie, in terms of
Yeah, absolutely. I think the right
identifying the
people
team.
to talk to and the persistence is paying off.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
100%.
Kwesi, do you want to
Um,
ask a question or can
There
I?
we go. Kwesi,
Yeah,
over to
just
you.
a question from Joy in the chat.
Yeah.
So question is, would it include automotive manufacturing training like robotics courses, clinching / joining technology courses?
I think, Joy, to answer your question, that might not entirely fall under our scope right now. But if you just pop me a message and say, I'm looking for this training, I can find the solution for you. I can find the qualification or the skills program that you're looking for. Does that answer your question?
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
He says, thank you, Joy. Are there any further questions from the floor? I know it's a very broad topic, but feel free, like Angie said, she doesn't have the answers. She will definitely channel the answers for you or channel you to the right person. Are there any further questions that you would like to raise? Feel free, please raise your hand. Okay, looks like we covered. That's normally an indication that the information is very well received, Angie. So it's
I was
it's been
expecting more thrown at me.
digested. Okay, there we go. Sorry, there's a hand again from Tandazo. Come through, please.
Sorry, I just thought of this question now. Is in the program, is there a specific age that we are dealing with, or we catering to anybody and everybody?
No, you are catering for everyone. There is no particular age, and also, and I think a lot of our members don't know this, but you can even train unemployed people. So you can apply for a grant to do employed, or you can do unemployed, and that helps you with your succession plan when it comes to your staff. which I think I know a lot of us in the industry battle to replace people. We battle to find people with the right skills. And if we put a program together that addresses that, we will solve a lot of your issues. But yeah, there's no age or that kind of thing attached to it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Nomtandazo. Are there any further questions? Okay, then perhaps in the interest of moving forward, just to clarify, Mariki will share the presentation and the presentation link with everyone, perhaps with some of the meeting outcomes, the recording of the meeting. That way you have a record. And then beyond that, like we did mention, Angie's details are there. I know that there's possibly questions that will emanate after the session. So please do feel free to raise your questions. Like we said, this is an interactive session. It is about you, the industry, and making sure that we deliver, in terms of your needs. Whilst we can't promise on everything, we certainly can, show you where we're heading and how we're going about doing it and where you fit in that value chain. So do look out for the communication that's going to come out from Mariki, which would help you, with the information that was shared during today's presentation. And certainly, take up the opportunity to ask questions. I have no doubt that you must have questions. Angie, over to you. Is there anything that you want to say as a parting shot? Because I think we're almost at the end.
Yeah. Please feel free to get hold of me regarding any questions you have. I do have a lot of experience with completing grants from the beginning to the end, and how to set up your training. So please feel free to contact me. I'm available. And if, like I said, if I don't know the answer, we all know, Vishal and I know a lot of people in Masita, we can get the answer for you. Okay. And please don't forget to try and give it some thought on the skills programs that you want us to identify and work on. Because like I said, this program takes a long time. So the sooner we identify what our needs are, the more we can hurry up the process, and we can actually get people into classrooms and to actually start learning. And then just lastly, we have set up this training committee now, and it's going to be an ongoing assistance with your training. We're not going to set up all the skills programs and then just leave everyone. If we identify more technical knowledge that we need, or something needs to be changed, we are going to be assessing it every year or as the need arises. But if you also let us know what your challenges are, then we can address them. We're here to help the members of our association with solutions. We're not just here to identify the problems. And I think, Michelle, as you said, we seem to be, and I don't want to make us look so good, but we do seem to be the association that's taking the lead at the moment with training. And we are actually making progress, a lot more than maybe other people in the industry. And we can only do this with your assistance. So please assure that we are here to come up with the solutions. We're not just here to identify the problems.
Very well
thank
said.
you, everyone, all right, for being on the meeting. It was nice to have this turnout. All right.
Fantastic, Angie. That's very, very well said. I must say, from our side, one of the gaps we identified at national level was that there's a lot of activity that takes place in the industry that may not necessarily have training linked to it, or have skills programs linked to it, et cetera, et cetera. And although the activities go on, we saw the need to professionalize our sector. And hence why we are here, is to professionalize our sector, to lead by example, to actually set us apart from industry so that we don't have challenges presenting, in our sector. And to have, the closed loop in terms of you've got the skills, but now you've got the qualification as well to back it up. and really close that loop in terms of, evolving our sector to be more professional. So well done, Angie, to you and your team. Excellent work. I can see it. I mean, it's starting to show. And guys, training is, I know it's always a difficult topic. What happens when I train my staff member and someone poaches? You know what? If you don't train them, you have a bigger problem. So I think training is absolutely important. Training is part of an ecosystem that should be there all the time. It should not be, when needed. It should be a continuous journey, because training happens all the time. The environment is changing all the time, so training is required all the time. So do look out for it. I'm going to hand over Kwesi. Kwesi, you've got a question?
Yeah, one more question before we go for Marietta. How will this training be communicated to MIPCO? Because they're always giving them issues regarding training.
Yeah, that's a very good question. We are aware of that process. And once we've got all our ducks in a row, we will be sitting with MIPCO. We have already started engaging with them. I know some of the grading is a bit outdated, and it does need to be relooked at, and it is on our process that we're going to be following through with.
Yeah, perhaps I could just add to that. We have, in our engagement processes from the start of this exercise, identified all the critical stakeholders that make this industry move, and one of them is MIPCO. We do recognize their role in the industry, and we do recognize the importance of making sure there's alignment with MIPCO in terms of how we execute. And to that end, we've already started that engagement process. We will continue that engagement process because, like we said on our side, MIPCO is a critical stakeholder, especially from an inspectorate point of view, and making sure that the communication that goes out is aligned with where we are, and that there's no gaps in terms of the engagement exercise. So we have considered that. Thank you. It's a very good question. We have definitely considered that, and it's like I said, critical stakeholder that we have already contemplated.
And I think MIPCO, they are very willing to work with us, and they understand our challenges. So I really do think that going forward, the future looks like we're not going to be, not wanting MIPCO to come to our shops because they're not working with us. I think that whole scope is going to change going forward.
Yeah, and then perhaps just for what it's worth, maybe just for interest of all in attendance, y'all are aware of the grading program that we're busy with, and part of the grading program would be looking at integration with MIPCO, to make sure that some of the outcomes that we have determined through our grading program aligns with MIPCO, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and that closeness in terms of the relationship helps to better our relationship in terms of how we execute with MIPCO, to make sure that we're not doing it as a punitive exercise, but rather as a development exercise. And I think that's very important to recognize. I'll stop there.
Yeah, and I think our training hasn't been formalized ever, and I think MIPCO understands we want to do that. And once we've done that, it'll make their job easier, and ours too, because it'll be stipulated exactly what you need, what the training you require, and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for that, Ange. Are there any further questions? Okay, noted. Thank you, Marietta.
None on my side.
Yeah. No further questions in the chat box. There's no further hands I can see that are raised. Am I right, Mariki? Yeah.
I think maybe what we will do is, as soon as there is any significant updates, we can have another Let's Talk, and update you on where we are, because I think a lot of people in the industry think, oh, what's going on? And it looks like nothing's going on because it just takes a long time for things to be approved. But believe you me, we are putting lots of hours into come up with and to coming up with solutions here for our training. And we will try and be in contact as much as possible to let you know where we are, where we stand, and what's been approved and what we're working on.
No, that sounds really good, Angie. I think that's a great idea. What we'll do is when we've got more information regarding the 4 skills programs and what the way forward would be in terms of rollout, perhaps we'll do a quick half-an-hour catch up with industry so that they understand the process as well. What we'll do is take you on this journey to make sure that we don't leave you behind. Just to make sure, from a process point of view, we execute. I think one important point that I need to mention, and this was from the Mercita, is when we scope these programs, we must make sure that the execution happens, as a parallel process. Because there's no point in it, putting together really nice programs and then the take-up is poor. So we will definitely take you on the journey. We will, in the communication that we provide, explain to you some of the benefits of, why you need to do it. I think it's a no-brainer, but certainly, do join us on this journey because this is, it's a collaborative exercise. We rely on you as industry to make what we try to achieve possible, and the only way for that to happen is you're going to take it up when it is presented and it's out there. So do look out for that communication. It's a shared exercise. This, we do our bit, and then you've got to do your bit in terms of execution as well. Okay, I think with that, I'm happy to say we near the end. It's all in all 45 minutes. Well done, Angie. That's a quick, very quick meeting, effective, short, sweet, to the point, and gets the message across. So well done to Angie on executing, and well done to your team as well. You've got a really good team of highly skilled individuals, and they understand the industry, should I say, backwards. They do understand it well, which makes it quite useful. And furthermore, to the other sectors that believe that there's an interest that you need to present, whether it's in the parts arena, whether it's in the equipment space, if there's something else that you believe that is important that we haven't identified or we need to, spend more time on, do share that with us, and we will definitely start executing. Like we mentioned, we do work in a bottom-up approach, and we feed from the bottom. So we do appreciate that. Again, thank you to all that have attended. It was a great attendance. Well done, over and out, and we will catch you on the next round. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.